Hello friends, this is Shivam Dubey from English Kingdom, Katra Prayagraj. Welcome to the class. Today we are here to finish Ernest Hemingway here for the class. In our previous classes we could go with the study of Ernest Hemingway, his biographical records, study of his works at a glance. We moved with some of his stories, hilarious stories, and with the stories there had been Indian camp, the sun also rises, the old man and the sea, from whom the bell tolls, farewell to arms. There had been many things that we could learn from Ernest Hemingway that seems to be important for us from our examinations point of view. Good evening, Sakshi. And today we are here with a question session on Ernest Hemingway. Along with question session, I would like to inform you all that this Sunday there would be a test on Ernest Hemingway, and the test will be held at English Kingdom app, and those who have not sent the badge code for the test, you must try to send it. Good evening to everyone. Abhishek, Khushbu, Vikas. Okay, welcome. And as I told you that today we are here to go with the question session. I've already told you that we are running KVS PGT classes as well, and their KVS PGT, postgraduate teacher, is a free. That's running in the morning, and KVS TGT is also running. That's not actually free, but both classes are running there. So those who have applied for KVS PGT can simply send your request to be added in our Telegram group, and the number of Telegram is here 9369542072. This number is our Telegram number, and there is a group for KVS PGT where we go for the free classes for KVS PGT, and you can be enrolled there, and you can simply go with everything that is there in details. We like to teach you with the text of the books, and like to go with the question session daily, and also going to initiate a test on Sunday on the app English Kingdom. So before we start the class, I wanted to tell you that this class is particularly a question session that is based on Ernest Hemingway. So as I told you, it's a question session class on Ernest Hemingway. You will have to be ready with the questions I would ask you. Ernest Hemingway. That's the question session where I will put some questions from your learning, and you guys will have to answer them very carefully. See Ernest Hemingway. And here we go with the first question of the day. Most welcome, Vikas. Keep going, and whatever help is possible here, we will go with that. Okay, so the first question. What's the name of the place where Ernest Hemingway was born? My first question is here. What was the name of the place where Ernest Hemingway was born? As we know, Ernest Hemingway is an American novelist, and during the modern phase of America, he could enlighten American literature with his contribution, and we go with the answers there on the screen. The first one is here from Gayatri. She is followed by Preeti. Now it is Aruna, Kalpana, Sakshi, Pratima. They have all answered it correct, and that is Oak Park, Illinois. Oak Park, Illinois is the place, especially Oak Park we highlight, is the place where Ernest Hemingway was born. Okay, we go with the next. What's the name of the theory which Ernest Hemingway introduced as a deliberate omission of some words by writer? I repeat, what's the name of theory that Ernest Hemingway introduced as the deliberate removal of some words by the writer? Thank you, Ayush, for appealing to share and like the video. It's okay, dear. We will continue with our quality, and possibly they will do it according to their own way of understanding. No, Kalpana. Lost generation is not the theory that was introduced by Ernest Hemingway. My question is, the theory that was introduced by Ernest Hemingway and was related to writing style, where a writer deliberately removes some words to make the space for the reader's power of imagination and understanding there. Okay, and we have some answers there on the screen. That we go with the reply of Gayatri, and she is followed by Sakshi, Preeti, Kalpana, Khushbu, Pratima, Aruna, and good evening, Anuj and Nagma. Anuj, they have all answered it correct, and the right answer is iceberg theory. Okay, here we go with the next. What was the name of the mother of Ernest Hemingway? What was the name of the mother of Ernest Hemingway? The next question. What was the name of the mother of Ernest Hemingway? Okay, and we receive some answers there on the screen. We go with the reply of Sakshi. She is followed by Nagma, Gayatri, Preeti, Aruna, Kalpana, Pratima, Anuj, Khushbu. They have all answered it correct, and the right answer is Grace Hall Hemingway. Exactly. Grace Hall Hemingway was the name of the mother of Ernest Hemingway. Okay, going with the next. How was Fanny Biggs? How was Fanny Biggs related to Ernest Hemingway? I repeat, how was Fanny Biggs related to Ernest Hemingway? We know Fanny Biggs played a very vital role in the literary life of Ernest Hemingway, especially starting his initial part of career. The question is, how was she related to Ernest Hemingway? Let's see some answers there on the screen. Okay, and that's starting with Nagma, followed by Sakshi, Kalpana, Gayatri, Aruna. Okay, they have all answered it correct. Fanny Biggs was the teacher of journalism at Oak Park and River Forest High School. There Ernest Hemingway could learn how to go with the short statements or short sentences, and initially he actually favored short sentences writing that gives more confidence to a writer. And this was from the inspiration of Fanny Biggs. Okay. What was the name of school newspaper which had the possible first publication of Ernest Hemingway's works? What was the name of school newspaper which had the publication of the first works of Ernest Hemingway? Ayush, we will be really proud of you, dear. If I can make any change in your life, that would be really a pleasing moment for me and proud moment for all of us. Just keep working hard, dear, and we will have great expectations from you. Okay, and we have some answers that starts here with the reply of Sakshi. She is followed by Gayatri, Nagma, Pratima, Anuj, Kalpana, okay, Gayatri, Aruna, Preeti, they have all answered it correct. And the right answer is the school newspaper, The Trapeze, as the first piece of Ernest Hemingway got published in January 1916. When did Ernest Hemingway join the Kansas City Star? When did Ernest Hemingway join the Kansas City Star? I move with the question. When did Ernest Hemingway join the Kansas City Star? You know, there he was a club reporter, and you will have to tell when did he join the Kansas City Star as a club reporter, and we have the answers there on the screen. Well, so the answer, oh no right answer there. Oh, thank you, Kalpana. So we have answers there on the screen, but no answer is correct here. It's not 1918. Instead, it was 1917 that he joined there. And for almost 6 months, he worked there. 1917, he joined the Kansas City Star as a club reporter and spent there 6 months. And after that, he shifted his job. So 6 months at the Kansas City Star, he was there. What was the name of the first women with whom Ernest was in love? What was the name of the first women with whom Ernest Hemingway was in love? I repeat, the name of the first women with whom Ernest Hemingway was in love. Okay, and we received some answers there on the screen. Going with the reply of Sakshi, she is followed by Preeti, Aruna. No, Aruna, it's not Hadley Richardson. Hadley Richardson becomes the first wife of Ernest Hemingway, not the first women with whom he was in love. It was Agnes von Korosky with whom he was in love. And as we see the replies on the screen, from continuing with the Gayatri, Kalpana, Pratima, Nagma, Anuj. Okay, dear. So they have all answered it correct. The right answer is Agnes von Korosky. That's good. She was a lady with whom he falls in love as she was a Red Cross nurse. Okay. When did Ernest Hemingway joined the Red Cross? When did Ernest Hemingway joined the Red Cross? He was a Red Cross soldier as well, and especially could not be the soldier in fact. He was an ambulance driver there and had a great experience of First World War during that, Red Cross soldier. My question is, when did he join the Red Cross in Kansas City? And we have the answers, and the right answers are there, but not very accurate as I expected. Well, so somewhat the mixed answers are there from Gayatri, Kalpana, Sakshi, Preeti, Pratima, Nagama, Aruna. Okay, that's good. Actually, Nagama, this is what I expected. It was May 1918. It was May 1918, he joined the Red Cross in Kansas City, and in June, he was sent to the front as a part of Italian battalion. And then it is in July, actually he got himself wounded, the first experience that caused him to have the first meeting with Agnes von Kurowski, whom he falls in love. Okay, moving with the next one. What's the name of the protagonist of the novel, The Old Man and the Sea? What's the name of the protagonist of the novel, The Old Man and the Sea? What's the name of the protagonist of the novel, The Old Man and the Sea? Okay, and we have the answers on the screen. Coming from Sakshi, she is followed by Gayatri, Nagama, Kalpana, Pratima, Preeti, Aruna. They have all answered it correct. The right answer is Santiago. Exactly, Santiago was the old fisherman who is the protagonist of the novella, The Old Man and the Sea, which is the only play by Ernest Hemingway. Or what is the name of play by Ernest Hemingway? He could write just one play in his whole literary career, and you guys have to tell the name of that only play of Ernest Hemingway. Okay. And we receive answer there on the screen. That goes with the reply of Gayatri. She is followed by Kalpana, Nagma. Actually, the fifth column and the first 49 stories, Nagma, was the publications of this one, but the play was just the fifth column, okay? The fifth column was a play. Okay, here is the Pratima, Preeti, Sakshi. Okay, Aruna, they have all answered it correct. The right answer is the fifth column. Okay, when was Indian Camp first published? When was Indian Camp first published? Indian Camp as a major story from the early collection of Ernest Hemingway. The question is, when was it first published? When was it first published? That's my question. Indian Camp. Preeti, just check. The first publication is asked here for Indian Camp, and that's not very accurate answer. Okay, so here is Nagma, a bit clear answer, though it's April 1924. April 1924 had the first publication of Indian Camp. No, Kalpana, not 25th. It's April 1924, that has the first publication of Indian camp that was done in a literary magazine named Transatlantic Review. Transatlantic Review. Okay, exactly, Preeti, that is what we meant to be. And much better answer is from here, Gayatri. She gave the complete explanation to be April 1924. It was a literary magazine by Ford Maddox Ford. Actually, that was a friend of Ernest Hemingway, and the magazine was Transatlantic Review that got the publication of Indian camp for the first time in April 1924. Okay, what was the name of the uncle of Nick Adams from the story Indian camp? What was the name of the uncle of Nick Adams from the story Indian camp? Okay, and we have some answers. Well, Gayatri, I think there's a mistake in the spelling. Thank you. Ashit. Okay, and the right answer comes from here. Sakshi. Okay, she has answered it correct. I think there's a spelling mistake from Gayatri. And followed by Gayatri, Kalpana, Preeti, Nagma, Pratima, Aruna. They have all answered it correct. That's George Adams. That was the uncle of Nick Adams from the work Indian Camp. That's a story about an Indian woman going through the labor pain. Okay, what's the name of the publishing house that published the novel The Sun Also Rises? What's the name of the publishing house that published the novel The Sun Also Rises? In 1926, this had been the first novel of Ernest Hemingway. In 1926, it was published on 22nd October. Okay, and we have the answers there on the screen from Gayatri. She has answered it correct. That is, it was published by Scribners and Sons on 22nd October 1926. Okay, going with the next. Who is the protagonist of the novel The Sun Also Rises? Who is the protagonist of the novel The Sun Also Rises? That's the next question. As the protagonist of the novel we have here. Okay, and we go with the answers. It starts with the reply of Sakshi. She is followed by Kalpana. Gayatri is a Jake, not Jack. Okay, Nagma, Pratima, Preeti, and Barnes. Check the spelling, Preeti. And Aruna. They have all answered it correct. That's a Jake Barnes. Is an American veteran of World War I and seems to be almost important. Is the hero of a protagonist of the novel Jake Barnes, The Sun Also Rises. Who gave the term the lost generation? Who introduced the term lost generation? As you see, lost generation is closely related to Ernest Hemingway, and you will have to tell who gave this term. Okay, and we have some answers there on the screen. That starts with the reply of Sakshi. She is followed by Nagma, Kalpana, Preeti, Pratima, Gayatri, Aruna. They have all answered it correct. The right answer is Gertrude Stein. We have the answers. Gertrude Stein was the lady who introduced the term lost generation in Paris, and later on it was familiar to exactly Kalpana, popularized by Ernest Hemingway. Going with the next. Which work of Ernest Hemingway has the character Lady Ashley Brett? Which work of Ernest Hemingway has the character Lady Ashley Brett? Lady Ashley Brett is a very famous character from the works of Ernest Hemingway, and you will have to tell the name of the work by Ernest Hemingway that has the character Lady Ashley Brett, and we received some answers there on the screen, and that starts with the reply of Sakshi. She is followed by Gayatri, Nagma, Kalpana, Aruna, Preeti. They have all answered it correct, and the right answer is the sun also rises. Actually, she is love of Jake as English woman in the novel The Sun Also Rises. Okay, going with the next. How many books are there in the novel The Sun Also Rises? I mean, the story is divided in books of the novel The Sun Also Rises. You will have to tell how many books are there in the novel The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway. How many books are there in the novel The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway? And we have some answers there on the screen that goes with the reply of, oh no, Pratima, not that. Well, exact answer is here from Sakshi. She gives the complete detailing. Like there are 3 books and they have been arranged in 19 chapters. No Aruna, no Kalpana, no Preeti, no Gayatri. Okay, Nagma is there. So right answer is 19 chapters, and those 19 chapters are arranged in 3 books for the novel The Sun Also Rises in 1926. When was the novel The Sun Also Rises published? When was the novel The Sun Also Rises published? God bless you, Ayush. Just keep going with your work. God bless you. Keep going. Okay, and we have the answers there on the screen, and we go with the reply, and the answers are there on the screen that we see coming from the reply of Gayatri, and she is followed by Sakshi, not is Preeti, Nagma, Aruna, no, Aruna, not that, Kalpana, Pratima. They have answered it correct, and the right answer is actually October 1926 is okay, but dated as 22nd October 1926. The novel The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway was published by the publishers Charles Scribner's and Sons. Okay, moving with the next. When did Ernest Hemingway receive the Pulitzer Prize? When did Ernest Hemingway receive the Pulitzer Prize? Going with the questions, when did Ernest Hemingway receive the Pulitzer Prize? Okay, and we go with the answers there on the screen, and that starts with the reply of Nagma. Oh no, Aruna. Just be careful, Aruna. Many answers are going to be wrong here today. So go through proper revision, dear. And Nagma is followed by Sakshi and Kalpana, Gayatri, Preeti, they have all answered it correct. The right answer is 1953, that he received Pulitzer Prize for his work The Old Man and the Sea. Going with the next. When was Ernest Hemingway wounded by a mortar? When was Ernest Hemingway wounded by a mortar? You know, when Ernest Hemingway joined the Red Cross in Kansas City, he was fatally wounded by a mortar. And my question is, when was he fatally wounded? Okay, and we go with the answers there on the screen. That starts with the reply of Nagma, that's a perfect one. And she is somewhat followed by Sakshi, Kalpana, Gayatri, that's good. Pratima, Preeti, they have also answered it correct. And the right answer is 8th July 1918. 8th July 1918 is the right answer on the screen from them all. Okay, and we'll go with the next one. What's the name of the girl was just 19-year-old and Ernest Hemingway had a platonic love affair with her? And she seems to be the last lady with whom he was in love. I repeat, what's the name of the lady or girl who was just 19-year-old and Ernest Hemingway was in love with her? She seems to be the last lady in life of Ernest Hemingway as a beloved. And we receive the answers. That we go with the reply of Nagma. She is followed by Gayatri, Sakshi, Kalpana, Pratima, Preeti, and they have all answered it correct. The right answer is Adriana Ivanovich. That's a good one. Adriana Ivanovich was the last girl as a lady in his life as a beloved, and with her he had a platonic love affair. Going with the next. What's the name of the protagonist of the novel by Ernest Hemingway? And that is A Farewell to Arms. What's the name of the protagonist of the novel A Farewell to Arms as a novel by Ernest Hemingway? A Farewell to Arms is a famous novel by Ernest Hemingway, and you will have to tell the name of the protagonist of this novel. And let's see some answers pouring on the screen. And we have here the replies on the screen, going with the reply of Gayatri. She is followed by Nagma, Kalpana, Preeti, Sakshi. Thank you. Pratima, they have all answered correct. And the right answer is Lieutenant Frederick Henry was an American and also was ambulance corps taking away from the Italian army, that he was working there. Going with the next. Where was the title A Farewell to Arms taken by Ernest Hemingway? Where was the title A Farewell to Arms taken by Ernest Hemingway? A Farewell to Arms is a work by Ernest Hemingway, and my question is about his title. Where did he take this title from? And we'll go with the answers on the screen. And that is here. Okay. Thank you, Sakshi. There is a poem by, actually it's not Robert Deere, it's a George Peele was an English dramatist and poet during Elizabethan age, and he was a dramatist who could help Shakespeare as well to initiate his literary career. And he could write a poem with the same title, A Farewell to Arms. So actually from that poem, Ernest Hemingway was inspired, and later on he goes with the title, A Farewell to Arms. So it's a George Peele. That was the name of the poet from whose poem, A Farewell to Arms, Ernest Hemingway received this novel title. Okay, going with the next. When was A Farewell to Arms published? When was A Farewell to Arms by Ernest Hemingway published? You see, the novel is a work of Ernest Hemingway, and that is having the protagonist Frederick Henry as a lieutenant from America on Italian front. And we need to know when was the novel published, and we have the answers there on the screen. The not very accurate one, but yes, it's okay. Going with the reply of Aruna, Pratima, Nagma, Preeti, Kalpana, Gayatri and Sakshi. They have answered it correct to be 1929, though accurate one is actually September 1929. It's a September 1929 that got the publication of A Farewell to Arms by Ernest Hemingway. And once again, it's Charles Scribner's and Sons, that was the publishing house that published it. Okay, going with the next. Who performs the cesarean over Indian women in the story Indian Camp? Who performs the cesarean over the Indian women in the story Indian Camp? Who performs the cesarean? And we have the answers there on the screen, going with the reply of Sakshi. She is followed by Kalpana, Preeti, Nagma, Pratima, Aruna, Gayatri. They have answered it correct, and the right answer is Dr. Adams, who is the father of Nick Adams from the story, and he performs cesarean on the Indian women who was going through the labor pain for almost 2 days. Okay, we'll go with the next. When did Ernest Hemingway get married to Hadley Richardson? When did Ernest Hemingway get married to Hadley Richardson, as she was his first wife, the second love? When did Ernest Hemingway marry Hadley Richardson, though she was the first wife and second love of Ernest Hemingway? Well, we go with the answers, and the right answers starting with the reply of Nagma. She is followed by Aruna, Gayatri, Pratima should be accuracy there, Kalpana, okay, Sakshi. Even closer answer you can go through. And now here Preeti, they have all answered it correct, and the right answer is 3rd September 1921. Exactly, 3rd September 1921, he got married to Hadley Richardson, who becomes his first wife, though she was the second love of Ernest Hemingway. Okay, when did Ernest Hemingway divorce Hadley Richardson? When did Ernest Hemingway divorced Hadley Richardson? And we have the answers on the screen. When did Ernest Hemingway divorce Hadley Richardson as first wife? And goes with somewhat Aruna, much better from Gayatri, Kalpana, Pratima, Nagma. Oh, no, Preeti, not 4th April, it's January. January 1927. Sakshi, oh, no, Sakshi, it's not 4th April. 1927, January, he divorced Hadley Richardson. And in May 1927, he got married to his second wife, Pauline Pfeiffer. Okay, now I'll move with the next one. What was the name of the first son of Ernest Hemingway? What was the name of the first son of Ernest Hemingway? You have to go through this question. What was the name of the first son? Actually, you see, there were the 3 sons of Ernest Hemingway, and 2 were actually from Pauline Pfeiffer, 1 from Hadley Richardson. So you will have to tell the first son of Ernest Hemingway, and we have the answer there on the screen. Oh, no, Preeti, not Patrick. Patrick was actually the first son from second wife, this is Pauline. So right answer is here, starting with Nagma. She is followed by Gayatri, Pratima, Sakshi, Aruna. They have answered it correct to be John Hadley Richardson as the son of Ernest Hemingway and Hadley Richardson, born on 10th October 1923. Okay, going with the next. What's the name of the publishing house that published the work A Farewell to Arms? What's the name of the publishing house that published the novel A Farewell to Arms? The name of the publishing house that published the Farewell to Arms, that's the question you have to go through. And we have the answers there on the screen. And that starts with the reply of Gayatri. She is followed by Kalpana, Preeti, Sakshi, Aruna, Pratima. They have all answered correct, and the right answer is Charles Scribner. That's good. Charles Scribner's and Sons. They have all answered it correct. Charles Scribner's and Sons has been the publishers for the novel A Farewell Arms. From whom was the character Kathleen Barclay inspired for A Farewell to Arms? From whom was the character Kathleen Barclay from the novel A Farewell to Arms inspired? You see, most of the time for the characters of Ernest Hemingway, they seem to be inspired from his real life characters with whom he could meet, or those who could be the part of his life actually. And one of them is the character Kathleen Barclay as well. The question is, whom was her character inspired Kathleen Barclay for the novel A Farewell to Arms? Okay, and we go with the answers there. And the right answer starts with the reply of Sakshi. She is followed by Nagma, Gayatri, Kalpana, Pratima, Preeti. Okay, Gayatri. They have all, exactly Kalpana, they have all answered it correct to be Agnes von Korosky, whom Ernest Hemingway could meet in a hospital. She was a nurse and he was a Red Cross soldier, got wounded in July, on 8th July 1918. And then they had the 6 months together, spending in the hospital. And finally they were in love, but unfortunately she rejected him in January 1919. And that has been the one reason behind his turning down the women or deserting women throughout his life, be it Martha, be it Mary. Even he tried to desert Mary as well, and be it Pauline, be it Harley. They all had been, in fact, somehow. Okay, going with the next question. When was the, what was the name of the sister of Ernest Hemingway with whom he performed in his school orchestras? What was the name of the sister of Ernest Hemingway with whom he performed in his school orchestras? Okay, and we have the answers on the screen that we received coming from the reply of Nagma. She is followed by Gayatri, Pratima, Kalpana, Aruna, Sakshi, and Preeti. They have all answered it correct, and the right answer is Marceline Hemingway. She was a sister of Ernest Hemingway, and she used to be performing with him, and that was at his own school. Okay, which character from Ernest Hemingway is considered to be his code hero? I repeat, which character from Ernest Hemingway is considered to be his code hero? You remember, code hero is actually a term that was popularized and introduced by Ernest Hemingway himself, and we have to go with this term. Who seems to be the code hero of Ernest Hemingway? And we have some answers there on the screen, and that is the reply coming from the answers of you all. And we see that it's a Gayatri starting with Preeti, Kalpana, Nagma, okay, Aruna, Sakshi, and Pratima. I think Sakshi, Jake Barnes cannot be considered as a code hero. Instead, Frederick Henry from Farewell to Arms is to be much better considered as the hero who continues with bravery until the last. He goes with his free will and follows his own ideal of courage and honor. No, Gayatri. Robert Jordan cannot be. Okay, much better is Frederick Henry, who goes with his honor, with his respect till the end. Okay, I'm going with the next one. What's the meaning of code hero? Okay, come on. What's the meaning of code hero according to Ernest Hemingway? What is the meaning of code hero according to Ernest Hemingway? As just I actually tried to introduce code hero and try to explain as well who seems to be code hero according to Ernest Hemingway. And the simple question is here, what is meaning of code hero if Ernest Hemingway is there talking about code hero? So come on, tell us, what is the meaning of code hero according to Ernest Hemingway? What is the meaning of code hero. Okay, and we go with the answers. Well, Kalpana is there. That's good. And Pratima. No, Pratima, that's not much better. Okay, that's a good one, Nagma. That's good effort. Exactly, when a man is there and he sets himself as a result, as an answer of something that's related to honor, that's related to courage, that's related to principle. And even though when his life is in danger, he does not leave his principles, he actually lives up to the principles. And that's what the bravery in most of the heroes of Ernest Hemingway, we say it, but very accurately in Santiago, as most of you answered. And yes, that's a Frederick as well, having the same quality. In a little bit, you can go with Jake Bernice as well. But much better, you find the example is there as the character of Santiago especially, and Frederick Henry from the novel Farewell to Arms. Going with the next. What's the name of the man who can be the inspiration for Ernest Hemingway throughout his life? Writer. I must go with the name of the literary inspiration whom you can see to be inspiring Ernest Hemingway throughout his life in his writing. What's the name of the man who has a lifelong inspiration on Ernest Hemingway as a novelist? Though Ernest Hemingway was a very unique writer, he is being followed by is quite easy, but being following does not seem to be going very accurate. Even though he had some persons with whom he had a close literary relationship, so you should try to tell what's the name that man could have inspired him for his literary writing. Exactly, James Joyce is one of them, from Sakshi, Kalpana, Preeti, Nagma. Okay, he is actually novelist, James Joyce. Now Aruna is also answering the same. And freestyle writer, most of the time talking about stream of consciousness. And as you see, the flashback technique is a very essential, very powerful part of James Joyce's novel, and somewhat the similarity you will find in Ernest Hemingway as well. The inspiration he had from Ezra Pound he had, and he has a James Joyce influence, as you see, and he had the influence of Sherwood as well in his writing, and somewhat William Butler Yeats' influence on Fitzwilliam Gerald had been, many more had been there, but exactly as a novelist he was very close to James Joyce, so we can go with that answer. Okay, going with the next one. When did Ernest Hemingway receive Nobel Prize? When did Ernest Hemingway receive the Nobel Prize? Okay, and we have the answers on the screen coming from Kalpana. She is followed by Gayatri, Nagma, and I think it's Nandini, Aruna, Preeti, Pratima. Okay, Kalpana, thank you. Sakshi, they have all answered it correct. 1954, And for the novel The Old Man and the Sea, he received Nobel Prize in 1954. Which magazine published The Short Happy Life of Francis Macomber? Which magazine published The Short Happy Life of Francis Macomber as a story of Ernest Hemingway? The Short Happy Life of Francis Macomber is a story by Ernest Hemingway. Which magazine published this short story of Ernest Hemingway? Okay, and we have the answers there on the screen. That comes from the reply of Nagma. No, Kalpana, not that. And she is followed by Kalpana. And now it's Gayatri. Exactly. It's a Cosmopolitan magazine. Pratima has also answered the correct one from Sakshi. The same answer we received. And that is Cosmopolitan magazine. It has issued the story, The Short Happy Life of Francis Macomber in September 1936. Okay, going with the next one. When was the novel For Whom the Bell Tolls by Ernest Hemingway published? When was the novel For Whom the Bell Tolls by Ernest Hemingway published? Once again, no doubt, it's a Charles Scribner that published it. The question is, when was this novel published? For Whom the Bell Tolls. When was this novel published? And we have the answers on the screen, somewhat from Gayatri, Kalpana, Preeti, Nagma, Pratima, but that's not a very accurate one, Nandini and Aruna. So right answer is on 21st October 1940, and 21st October 1940 is the time when For Whom the Bell Tolls was published by Charles Scribner and Sons. Going with the next. Where is the title For Whom the Bell Tolls taken? Where has the title For Whom the Bell Tolls been taken? This is a novel of Ernest Hemingway published on 21st October 1940 by Charles Scribner and Sons. The question is, where did Ernest Hemingway receive this title for his novel, For Whom the Bell Tolls? Oh, no, Kalpana, not that. For Whom the Bell Tolls is not from the work of Thomas Gray and Elegy written in Country Churchyard. Remember. Okay. And we have the answers there from Gayatri. And she is followed by Preeti. They have answered it correct. And that is, there's actually songs from John Donne, and in a series of his songs there's a meditation 17, that is sequenced as a 17 meditation by John Donne, and that meditation has 17th meditation had this actually as a statement, For Whom the Bell Tolls, and from there Ernest Hemingway received his title for this novel of 1940, 21st October. Who is the protagonist of the novel For Whom the Bell Tolls? I repeat, who is the protagonist of the novel For Whom the Bell Tolls? You will have to tell the protagonist of the novel. Okay, and we have some answers. Their answer on the screen. Okay. And the answer is here from Nagma. She is followed by Gayatri. Okay, now it's Pratima, Kalpana, Preeti. They have all answered it correct. The right answer is Robert Jordan, who's who is a very young American and was a part of international brigades that was attached to guerrilla war and presenting the Spanish Civil War of Ernest Hemingway, and he could place it in his novel For Whom the Bell Tolls. Okay, going with the next. What was the name of what was the full form of Nana that Ernest Hemingway was related as reported to? What was the full name of Nana, N-A-N-A, that Ernest Hemingway was related to as a reporter? What was the full name of Nana, N-A-N-A, as Ernest Hemingway was related to as a reporter? And we have their answers, and that comes here from Nagma, North American Newspaper Alliance. Exactly, that's the right answer, North American Newspaper Alliance. And she is followed by Gayatri, Preeti, Pratima, Sakshi. They have all answered it correct. Now it's Kalpana. What is that, Aruna? I think you should check your answer there. So North American Newspaper Alliance, that is the right answer for Nana that Ernest Hemingway was related to report the Spanish Civil War, and for which you see that the story For Whom the Bell Tolls is related to. Okay, what's the name of the Soviet officer who ordered the demolition of the bridge in the novel For Whom the Bell Tolls? What's the name of the Soviet officer who orders the demolition of the bridge in the novel For Whom the Bell Tolls? Okay, the question you see, what's the name of the Soviet officer who orders for the demolition of the bridge in the novel For Whom the Bell Tolls? And we have the answers on the screen coming from Preeti, and she has answered it correct to be goals. And now she is followed by Pratima, and it's a Kalpana. Okay, Nagma has also answered it, and the right answer is goals, as a Soviet officer who ordered for the demolition of bridge in the novel For Whom the Bell Tolls. Which work of Ernest Hemingway has the character Pablo? Which work of Ernest Hemingway has the character Pablo? Which work of Ernest Hemingway has the character Pablo? And we go with the answers on the screen. And the right answer there, starting with the reply of Nagma. And there she is followed by Gayatri. Kalpana, no, Kalpana. Pablo is not a character in The Old Man and the Sea. Okay, and we continue with Pratima, Preeti. They have Preeti checked the spelling of whom. The right answer is there. For Whom the Bell Tolls is now Sakshi's reply, and Aruna has also replied it correct. The right answer is For Whom the Bell Tolls, that has Pablo as the leader of anti-fascist in the novel. Okay, going with the next. What's the name of the magazine that had the first publication of The Old Man and the Sea? What's the name of the magazine that had the first publication of The Old Man and the Sea? That's a very, very famous work of Ernest Hemingway, and you will have to tell the name of the magazine that had the first publication of Ernest Hemingway's novel, The Old Man and the Sea. And we have the answers there on the screen coming from Gayatri, followed by Nagma, Preeti, Kalpana, Sakshi, Aruna. They have all answered it correct, and the right answer is Life magazine. Okay, that's good. Exactly, it's a Life magazine that had its publication. Okay, going with the next question. When was The Old Man and the Sea published? Okay, Preeti, just improvise your answer because the similar question I go with. When was The Old Man and the Sea published for the first time? When was The Old Man and the Sea published for the first time is my question here on the screen. Okay, and we have the answers there on the screen that we received coming from the reply of Gayatri, followed by Nagma, okay, Kalpana, and now it's Sakshi, Preeti, Aruna, and Pratima. They have all answered it correct, and the right answer is 1st September 1952. Okay, what is Manolin in the novella, The Old Man and the Sea? What is Manolin in the novella, The Old Man and the Sea? You see a character in novella, The Old Man and the Sea. What is he? Means what is the character that you have to see? And we receive the answer on the screen. Well, somewhat pretty correct one, but much better from Gayatri's. Okay, Kalpana. And well, Nagma. They have all answered it correct, and that is Manolin is an adolescent boy as apprentice to Santiago who wants to learn fishing there in the novel. Going with the next. What's the name of the number of days? I mean, how many days Santiago goes without fish? How many days Santiago goes without fish? And we have the answers there on the screen. You know, Santiago, a big and skilled fisherman, is without any fish for almost 84 days, and on 85th he has the hugest in his life and continues the struggle for almost 2 or 3 days, and 87th day the novel makes the end. Well, so the right answer coming from Preeti, Nagma, Kalpana, Gayatri, Aruna, Sakshi and Pratima. They have all answered it correct, and the right answer is 84 days he goes without any fish. What's the name of the fish that Santiago catches on 85th day of his hooking? What's the name of the fish that Santiago catches after his venture of 84 days without any fish, and finally he caught the fish on 85th day? Thank you, Preeti. And she goes with the perfect answer to be marlin. Oh, no, Gayatri, not tuna. It's a marlin. And followed by Kalpana, Sakshi, Pratima, Aruna. Thank you, Nagma. So marlin is, I think, Karna, you want to write it's a meter, not centimeter, in fact. Okay, so it's 18 feet long fish that he could catch, and almost is about 5.5 meter in its length. So 18 feet is the length of the marlin that he caught on his 85th day, and almost 2 days. He had a continuous conflict, a great resistance from marlin, and finally he had just left with the skeleton because there had been a take of the sharks, and these all shark took away the flesh of marlin, and just the skeleton was left with him when he reached the shore, and he was fully tired. What's the name of the football player who has been mentioned in the novel The Old Man and the Sea? What's the name of the football player who has been mentioned in the novel The Old Man and the Sea? The football player has been mentioned in the novel Old Man and the Sea, though he has no personal appearance in the novel, still he has been mentioned there. You will have to tell the name of that. Character, and we have the answers there on the screen, coming it from the reply of Kalpana, and she is followed by Pratima. I think Pratima, that should be improvised, a bit changes in the spelling, especially Pratima, Preeti, Nagma, Gayatri, Aruna, they have all answered it correct, that it's a Joe DiMaggio. That is the name of the footballer who has been mentioned there in the novel Old Man at the Sea. He has been a footballer but never appeared on the screen in the novel. Now I'll move with the next, and that would be the last question of the day. What is the name of the going with the last question, and didn't find which question should be the last one, and I think we should go with this one. When did Ernest Hemingway receive Italian silver medal for his bravery? When did Ernest Hemingway receive Italian silver medal for his bravery? You know, he served Italian front, and for that he received the Italian silver medal of bravery. So when did he receive this medal? That's the question. Oh, no, Gayatri, no Kalpana, no Preeti. Didn't expect this should be the wrong. He received it in 1947 for his bravery, and that was from Italian front. Okay, now I'll go with the last question. I think that would be even better. What was the name of the last wife of Ernest Hemingway? Exactly, Preeti, I know you guys want. So here's the last question. What's the name of the last wife of Ernest Hemingway? I mean, last wife. Okay. What is that, Gayatri? I think you should check the spelling. Okay, and this is going to be the last question that we received there on the screen. And we have, okay, Gayatri, but such a horrible spelling. Much better from Preeti, but the spelling problem is there. Okay, so perfect answer is from Sakshi. And now it's Nagma, Gayatri, oh, Mansha. Just a Hindi version of your spellings. Good one. Well, Pratibha, Aruna, okay, thank you. They have all answered it correct. And the right answer is Mary Welsh. She becomes the last wife of Ernest Hemingway after Hadley Richardson, Pauline Payford, and Martha. It was the fourth wife named Mary Welsh who becomes his last wife. That's all from me. Thanks a lot for watching. But don't forget, there would be test on Ernest Hemingway this Sunday. So those who have not sent the batch code in the group on the app English Kingdom, please do send your batch request. That's all from me. Thanks a lot for watching. Keep watching, keep learning, and keep working hard. Thank you. Thank you very much.